I went from 100 pounds to 180 pounds in 2 years naturally. No steroids, no expensive gym, no genetics advantages. And I did it by treating my body like a science experiment. I'm Geo Wallace and I have a degree in molecular biology and biotechnology, and I came to the United States from the Dominican Republic when I was 15 years old. I didn't speak English and I weighed 100 pounds soaking wet, and people told me I'd never make it. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how I transformed my body from invisible to unadmissible using real science. No bro science, no influencer BS, and no supplements that simply don't work. You're going to learn 3 things. First, the biological mechanism that actually builds muscle and why most people just never trigger it. Second, the nutrition protocol that took me from eating 4,000 calories and staying skinny to actually gaining 80 pounds of muscle. And third, the training system that I use at Planet Fitness to build a physique that I'm proud of and that changed my life. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why your genetics don't matter as much as you think, why expensive gyms are a waste of time, and why the supplement industry has been lying to you. But let me start by showing you where I began. I was 100 pounds, 15 years old, standing in a new country where I couldn't even begin to ask for directions because I didn't understand anything. I was confused. I was invincible, and I don't mean it metaphorically. People literally did not see me. They talked over me. They walked into me in hallways. They just didn't hear me. And I decided my body was the first thing I would change. Not because I wanted to look good, though it was part of it, but because I wanted people to see me, to take me seriously, to stop being invisible. So I started researching, and because I was studying molecular biology at the time, I had access to what most people didn't. It was that I could actually read and understand scientific papers. I went to the source. Not Instagram captions, not influencers, not YouTube videos from guys selling supplements, but actual peer-reviewed studies published in journals. And what I learned changed everything. Let me explain the first thing you need to understand: the biological mechanism of building muscle. When you lift weights, you create tiny tears in your muscle fibers. This is called a mechanical tension. Your muscles are made of protein filaments, and when you contract them against resistance, some of those filaments are going to break. Now, your body sees these as damage, and your body's number one job is to repair the damage and adapt it so it doesn't happen again. So during recovery, when you're sleeping or resting or eating, your body rebuilds those muscle fibers. But here's the key: it rebuilds them slightly bigger and stronger than before. This process is called muscle protein synthesis, and it's the only way that you're going to build muscle. No supplements, no special exercises, no magic workout programs, muscle protein synthesis. That's it. But here's where most people screw up. They don't create enough mechanical tension to trigger the growth response. They do light weights or high reps thinking they're toning down, but toning doesn't exist. You either build muscle or you don't. They do exercises with perfect form and they never add weight, so their body never has a reason to adapt. They train inconsistently, once a week, whenever they feel motivated. But muscle protein synthesis only stays elevated for 24 to 48 hours after training. If you're not training each muscle group at least twice a week, you're leaving gains on the table. I figured this out by reading a study from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, and they compared training frequency once per week versus twice per week versus 3 times per week. The result? As long as the total week volume was the same, training a muscle twice per week produced better results than once a week. Not because of magic frequency, but because you're triggering muscle protein synthesis more often. So the first principle I applied was train each muscle group at least twice per week with enough weight to create real mechanical tension. Now here's the second thing I had to figure out. Why was I eating 4,000 calories a day and staying 100 pounds? And I wasn't lying about my calorie intake. I was genuinely eating a massive amount of food. Rice, chicken, beans, protein shakes, everything Dominican. But I stayed skinny. Here's what I learned from studying metabolism. Your body doesn't just burn calories during exercise. It burns them through something called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's all the movement you do that isn't formal exercise. Walking around, fidgeting, talking with your hands, typing, even just maintaining posture while sitting. Some people have naturally high NEAT. They're always moving, always fidgeting, always burning extra calories without even realizing it. I was one of those people, and I would eat 4,000 calories, but I was probably burning 3,800 to 3,900 through a combination of my base metabolism plus unconscious movement. I signed up to so many sports as soon as I came into this country and extra activities that kept me in school until 7 p.m. I was taking the last bus because I wanted to get into college, and I didn't even speak English. So it was a challenge for me, and I was burning so many calories throughout the day that I wasn't realizing. So I was barely in a caloric surplus, maybe 100 to 200 calories above maintenance. That's not enough to build significant muscle growth. A study published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that to maximize muscle growth, you need a calorie surplus of 300 to 500 above your maintenance level. Less than that, and growth is very slow. More than that, and you're just gaining fat. So I made a change. I started tracking my calories religiously. Every single thing I ate went into an app, and I made sure I was hitting a true 500 caloric surplus every single day. But here's the other part most people miss. Protein. Your body needs amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to repair and build muscle tissue. If you don't eat enough protein, you literally can't build muscle. You don't have enough raw material. Research shows that you need around 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight to maximize muscle protein synthesis. When I weighed 100 pounds, that meant I needed 80 to 100 grams of protein daily. When I got to 180, I needed 144 to 180 grams. Most people don't even come close to that. They eat a bowl of cereal for breakfast, 5 grams of protein, maybe a sandwich for lunch, maybe 15 grams, pasta for dinner, another 10 grams. They're getting 30 to 40 grams of protein a day and wondering why they're not building muscle, and I was one of them. I structured my nutrition like this: 4 meals a day, each meal have 40 to 50 grams of protein. Chicken, eggs, Greek yogurt, lean beef, protein shakes. If I needed to hit my target, I was eating it. That's the second principle. Eating a 300 to 500 caloric surplus with a 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now for the third thing, the training system that actually worked. I didn't have money for an expensive gym, so I joined Planet Fitness because it was $10 a month and it was close to where I live. A lot of people on the internet love to trash Planet Fitness, saying you need a hardcore gym with heavy free weights and chalk and people screaming, and honestly, that's just bullshit. You know what Planet Fitness has? Barbells, dumbbells, cable machines, a squat rack, a bench press. I'm from the DR. These nice things you're not gonna get for $10 a month, and that's all you need. I designed a program around compound movements, exercises that work in multiple muscle groups at once. Squats for legs, bench press for chest, rows for back, overhead press for shoulders, and deadlifts for posterior chain. I trained 4 days a week. Each workout was 45 to 60 minutes. I did 3 to 4 sets per exercise, 8 to 12 reps per set, and every single week I tried to add a little more weight or do 1 more rep than the week before. That's called progressive overload, and is the most important thing that you have to understand for your training. A study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that progressive overload, meaning gradually increasing the stress on your muscle over time, is the primary driver of muscle growth. If you're lifting the same weight for the same amount of reps every single month, your body has no reason to grow. You're not creating a new stimulus. But if you're consistently adding 2.5 to 5 pounds every week or two, your body has to adapt. It has to build more muscle to handle increasing load. I tracked every single workout in a notebook, exercise, weight, reps, it didn't matter. I was writing it down. And small but incrementally progressing over time. And it compounded in a shorter time that I even predicted. In year 1, I went from 100 pounds to 140. And in year 2, I reached 186 pounds. 80 pounds of muscle at Planet Fitness, eating chicken and rice, no steroids, no $200 a month gym, no magical supplement. Just progressive overload and calorie surplus with high protein. Let me give you the exact framework so you can apply this to yourself. Step 1, find your maintenance calories. Multiply your body weight by 15, and that's roughly how many calories you burn per day. Add 300 to 500 to this number, and that's your muscle building target. This is very rough, but it works for now. Step 2, hit your protein target. 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day, no exceptions. Be disciplined. Step 3, join a gym. Any gym, it doesn't matter. You just need access to barbells, dumbbells, and squat racks. That's pretty much it. Step 4, train 4 days a week. 2 upper days, 2 lower days, do PPL if you want, but focus on compound movements, squats, bench press, rows, overhead press, and deadlifts. Step 5, progressive overload. Every week, try to add a little more weight or do 1 more rep. Track everything on your notebook or an app. Step 6, and most importantly, sleep 7 to 9 hours every night. This is when your body actually builds muscle. You skip sleep and you're wasting your time in the gym. If you do that consistently over the next 12 weeks, just 12 weeks, and track your progress with photos and measurements, I can literally guarantee you that you'll see changes. Not massive overnight transformations, but real measurable progress. And if you do it for a full year, you'll be unrecognizable, I promise you. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Geo, what about genetics? What if I just don't have the genes to build muscle? And that's exactly what I thought at the beginning. Let me explain you something. I was 100 pounds, dude. I'm Dominican, no some Nordic Viking. My African genes got mixed up with Spanish. I don't have elite muscle building genetics. I had every excuse to stay small. My family's small. But genetics, they don't determine whether you can build muscle at all. A study published by the Journal of Applied Psychology found that even people with below average genetics can potentially build significant muscle mass with proper training and nutrition. So yes, some people build muscle faster, but some people just have better insertions, better leverages, better hormonal profiles. But everyone, without exception, and I mean everyone, can transform their physique if they apply these principles that I just gave you. You're not competing with genetic elites. You're competing with who you were yesterday, the version that you were last year. The question isn't, can I build muscle? The question is, am I willing to do what it takes? Because here's the truth, and I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but This isn't complicated, but it's also not easy. You have to show up in the gym 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 times a week, even when you don't feel like it. You have to eat when you're not hungry, or stop eating when you are, because you need to hit your calorie target. You have to track your workouts, push progressive overload, even when you're tired, and this is harder than it looks. And I know you know it because you've tried it. And most people quit because they think it looks easy. They want the supplement that doesn't work. They want the workout problem that gives them the best results in 6 weeks, a shortcut. But there is no shortcut. There is a system, and the system works if you work it. I went from 100 pounds, literally invisible, to 180 pounds running a business, literally teaching people how to build muscle. Not because I'm special, but because I treated my body like a lab experiment and followed the data. If you want a complete system, the exact training program, the nutrition protocols, and the recovery strategies, plus the accountability framework that took me from where I was to where I am today, you can see a link down below and apply for free. But in the meantime, everything I just gave you in this video is enough for you to start today and start making progress. In just 3 months, you can see significant changes. Track your calories, hit your protein target, train with progressive overload 4 times a week, sleep 7 to 9 hours. Do that for 12 weeks without excuses, and you will transform. I'm Geo Wallace, and subscribe if you want more science-based content that actually works. No BS, no hype, no shortcuts. Now stop watching YouTube and go apply everything you just learned. God bless you, my boy.